So I was about ready to sit down and work on the script for my Titan's Curse ranking video when the first trailer for the Percy Jackson on Disney Plus show dropped. And I, partly fueled by the sheer hype of the situation, did a quick analysis of the now less than a minute of footage that we currently have from the show. There's quite a bit to unpack here despite the short runtime, so let's take a look. It's morning and there is no rain in the woods. There isn't much to see in this scene, it's mostly just an establishing shot. Next shot, we arrive at camp and we see arrows marking directions to the various places at Camp Half-Blood, starting with one arrow pointing to the Pegasus stables. The camera pans down and we see arrows to the archery ranges and the camp cabins. Also, one thing I noticed when I was trying to make out the lettering is that some of the letters are in Greek. Nice attention to detail there. Next up, we finally see Percy with a backpack and what is clearly his necklace without any beads on it. Notably, we also see a sleeping bag tied to the backpack. Presumably this is him packing up and leaving the Hermes cabin to go to the Poseidon cabin. Next we see Percy, presumably having just left the cabin. We see that he's walking next to the river running through camp, possibly just an allusion to his parentage. Notably, this does mean that the show has the river that runs through camp, which is going to be important for a lot of moments in the series. Most notable for this season is his fight with Clarice. We also see other Half-Bloods in camp wearing the iconic orange t-shirts, and they are clearly looking at Percy very intensely. Likely due to this happening just after the Capture the Flag game where he is claimed. In the background, we also see what looks like a raised platform and a very large fire. Is this part of an obstacle course, or is it the campfire? Next we see Percy still walking with a backpack and the orange shirt. Nothing notable in the background this time, except the other Half-Bloods are still staring at him. Something I didn't notice when I watched the trailer is that Percy's shirt has a tear in it, so this is definitely happening just after the Capture the Flag game. Shout out to Unclaimed Demigod for pointing that out. The camera changes and we see two owls maybe looking at Percy, but it's not directly shown. I'm not entirely sure what this means. Owls are a prominent symbol of Athena, so is this just an allusion to her continuing feud with Poseidon, angry that he broke the oath? Is it actually an allusion to Annabeth? Except we don't see her in the trailer, at least from what I could see. They could have gotten the point across by just having Leah in the center of a shot, so is this actually supposed to allude to Athena herself? But she doesn't appear in the first book, which this season is based on. Is this going to be changed in the adaptation, or am I just overthinking this? Next thing we see is Clarice with her spear and shield, surrounded by some other demigods. Also, some of the demigods are in armor and others are not. This happens shortly after Percy is claimed, so the most likely possibility is that he's expected to pack up all his stuff and move to the Poseidon cabin immediately, and it looks like not everyone bothered to change out of their armor in the meantime, or even move that much. It would explain why everyone is looking on so casually. Also, Clarice is definitely the type who wouldn't take her eyes off Percy in such a situation. Also, the demigods in front have different shields from the ones sitting on the fallen tree in the background. Is there a shield shortage, or does the Ares cabin just demand better shields than everyone else? Next we see a few cabins and the campfire. The cabin in the middle is clearly the Apollo cabin with a lyre on the front and with gold paint. Now, I can't for the life of me figure out which cabin the one on the left is supposed to be. It doesn't match any of the descriptions from the books. From what I gather, it could be Demeter, Artemis, Dionysus. I got nothing here. One thing I can deduce just from the Apollo cabin is that there are changes being made for this adaptation, since the oftentimes extravagant descriptions of the cabins that we get in the books aren't always something worth the extra budget it would take for perfect accuracy. So make your best guess on which cabins these are. Now, when the camera pans over a bit more, we get a better view of the cabin on the right. There's a lot of red, so it could be the Ares cabin, but that symbol does look a bit like a hammer on something, so it could also be the Hephaestus cabin. Again, give me your best guesses in the comments. Next shot, Percy arrives at his destination, the Poseidon cabin. A bit weird to me that the show is giving away his parentage right off the bat, before it even starts no less. It does make some sense since Disney is aware of just how big the fanbase is, and giving away something like this isn't exactly a problem for the story, so I'm willing to let it slide. The cabin itself looks sea blue, which is a nice touch, and the symbol on the front is clearly a trident, except it also looks a bit weird. I haven't seen a trident symbolized like that before with the wide base, but it's not that big a deal. Maybe I'm just missing something obvious. Feel free to correct me if so. Final shot of Percy we get in this trailer. Our hero's in the rain with an uneasy look on his face. This is obviously a different scene than the one in the rest of the trailer, most likely just after Sally is taken by the Minotaur, and Percy is not happy about it, which fits well with the narration in this part of the trailer when he referenced the monsters coming. Final shot! is the title card. And unlike the one that we got before the casting, this one does not use any images from the book covers. Instead, we get the title in the same font with a more Olympian feel to the background. It gives me good vibes for the show, and it's quite foreboding. Overall, I love the look and feel of the trailer. It genuinely feels like a scene from the books brought to life, and Percy's narration mimicking the opening monologue from the first book is just great. So, did I miss anything in this trailer? If you have any theories of your own, please add them in the comments below. And as always, the Mythos archives are always open.